Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? Am I audible to everyone? Just react.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you all are doing well. We are absolutely thrilled to welcome you to day one of a two-day webinar series organized by the Legal Building. Today's session is titled Mastering Legal Research and Writing, the core skills for aspiring lawyers, a topic that is extremely relevant and crucial for every law student and budding legal professionals. Whether you are in your first year or final year,
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you, but you are not properly audible.
okay, just a minute. Am I audible now? Is my voice audible now? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Am I perfectly audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. I'll begin again. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you all are doing well. We're absolutely thrilled to welcome you to day one of our two-day webinar series organized by the Legal Quorum. So, today's session is titled Mastering Legal Research and Writing, the core skills for aspiring lawyers, a topic that is extremely relevant and crucial for every law student and budding legal professionals. So, whether you are in your first year or final year, legal research and writing are the backbone of our profession, and there is always more to learn and improve. So, before we move ahead, let me take a moment to tell you a little about who we are. That is, to tell you all a little about the Legal Quorum. So, the Legal Quorum is a growing legal platform built with the aim of simplifying complex legal topics, providing opportunities, and building a community of learners who are passionate about law. We publish daily legal updates, thought provoking articles, case summaries, and practical resources to help students and professionals alike grow in their legal journey. Our goal is to create a space that informs, educates, and empowers. And webinars like these are part of our continued efforts to make law more accessible and relevant. Now coming to the most awaited and important part, that is our speaker for today. We are honored to have with us Dr. Garima, Assistant Professor of Law at Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. Dr. Pal is a renowned academician and an inspiring figure in the fields of criminology, victimology, and human rights. She holds a PhD on the topic drug abuse and alcoholism and the role of rehabilitation centers in Uttarakhand, which shows her deep commitment to issues that intersect law, society, and justice. She has worn many hats in her journey so far, from being a research associate at the Institute of Social Sciences in New Delhi to leading major projects at MNLU Delhi, funded by prestigious institutions like ICSSR, Ministry of Home Affairs, and the National Commission for Women. Her impactful publications, such as Hate Crime in India, published by Springer Nature and the Palghar Report, have not only enriched legal scholarship but have also made real life impact. One of her reports has been even submitted before the Bombay High Court. Apart from academics and research, Dr. Pal is actively involved in legal advocacy. She recently filed a PIL before the Bombay High Court related to the execution of living wills, a strong reminder that law is not just theory but action. She is currently leading an NHRC funded research project and is involved in various other submissions and collaborations that address contemporary issues like women policy, social media regulations, and human rights. Dr. Pal's journey reflects what it means to be a scholar, a researcher, and an advocate for justice all in one. We are truly privileged to have her with us today. So, without any further delay, I would like to warmly welcome Dr. Garima Pal to take over the session and guide us through this important topic. We are all ears and excited to learn, ma'am.
Thank you, Harshi, firstly, for such a warm welcome. And I want to congratulate Legal Quorum for coming out with such brilliant topics and helping the young legal minds to, grow and have a lot of practical insights and skills. Before I start, I firstly wanted to understand the kind of audience I'm having because uh, it's difficult to teach research, firstly. Like she mentioned, it is something which we do. So to teach it in an hour, it's quite impossible. So, possibly, if you can just tell me the kind of audience I'm dealing with, as in, have you done research? What kind of research have you published? So that I get an idea as to what all things could I possibly touch upon because it's hard for me to, cover it up in such a small session. So anybody would like to tell me, and please let me know whether you are comfortable with the language, whether I need to mix it with Hindi and English. I'm absolutely okay, merging both the languages because I'm sure the audience could might not understand a lot many things. So please let me know. Okay, so please, again, I'm asking, have you ever researched, published, what exactly have you done by far? Because I'm sure the range of students would be from first year to probably masters, so it is difficult to capture it in 1 hour. So if I can get little idea.
Ma'am, may I speak?
Yes, Harshi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, most of us, as you said, we must be in our undergraduate degree, and most of us must be in a postgraduate, and even in our doctorates. So, some of us might be in the research process, like for moot court competitions, trial advocacy, and the debate competitions. And some of us have, like, if I tell about myself, so I have been published my articles. I publish my research papers and my blogs, and mostly the research also comes for moot court competitions and trial advocacies.
Okay. Thank you, Harshi, for giving me little background of the audience. Am I audible? I'm audible, right? I'm pretty loud otherwise. You can ask me, or we can have a proper interaction in the middle also. I absolutely don't mind because I don't like a one-way monologue. Okay, so like I said, research is something which cannot be taught. It has to be understood and then done. Like by and large, I got an idea as to some of you haven't started researching, some of you have, some of you must be doing your doctorate. Uh, for me, oh, I think I've done research for the last 12 years. And the first basic thing which I learned in the profession has been to read. To be a excellent or a good lawyer, or even to start from, that basics. Reading is something which is extremely relevant and important. What do you read is again important Reading does not mean anything and everything. One needs to be very much updated into the kind of documents you are reading. If you do not have a habit of reading, now is the time, because I think anybody can publish, but what kind of publication you are doing is extremely relevant. And I think I want to just tell you this. Uh, I was also not taught this. Over the years, I've understood that I can publish a paper within an hour also, and I can take a year to publish it. There is a difference there. So I'm sure a lot many have written that we've published. I'm not aware as to where you have published. Okay, it's because publication nowadays, it's a marketing strategy of many people. Uh, so a right kind of researcher will start from reading. So that's my first tip to you. Having said that, I'll just bounce back to what the entire presentation is about. I would like to cover or tell you some of the AI tools which nowadays are being used. Is it visible, the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Firstly, I don't go according to the presentation. It's just for your reference. I've shared it also, probably because there are certain tools which are mentioned. I cannot teach them right now, but probably you can research on them and then use them in your day-to-day research, development. Now, a lot of us know what research is. It is basically, researching something which is there in the domain, and you are coming out with a new kind of idea or a strategy or a new kind of, I would say, a new idea. Okay. Unfortunately, in the field of law, we keep researching the same thing again and again. There is nothing new. Okay. And it's very unfortunate. So, what do we do when we are researching the same thing again and again? Like, for instance, if I have to talk about I think you have so much of material that people have published in the field of AI, and ironically, it's just the repetition. So the new strategy is we include a lot of empirical aspects into it. Now, how do we do that? Today, I'm going to just tell you those new things which are there. Some of you might be aware of it. So, like I said, the crowd is, of different classes. So, it is difficult for me to touch upon the very higher standard. So, when I talk about research, research is majorly taken, I think, in almost all the professions. Whether you're getting into academics, whether you are interning or joining any firm or a corporate house, a major chunk of them are going to ask you to research. Okay, so you need to have a certain set of skills, the way in which we are thinking, uh, examining critically the various aspects of your professional work. So it is basically, your it's a habit of questioning. What do you do? And a very systematic examination of the observed information to find answers with a view to instituting appropriate changes for a more effective professional service. All of us, like I said, are aware of what research is. It is either you are, trying to undertake within a framework of a set of philosophies, approaches, or you are using procedures, you're using methods, techniques that have been tested for their validity, reliability. And it is designed to be very much unbiased and objective. Again, I'm saying research, major chunk, the issue here is whenever we are, as advocates, if I'm talking about, as lawyers, if I'm talking about, we do become biased with our own researches. So the first thing you need to remember, apart from reading, is you cannot be biased. Okay, like for instance, some of you would be from representing prosecution side, some of you would be representing defense side. There would be cases with context to rape victims. There would be cases with context to, accused who has raped. So that representation is very much important. There, I cannot be biased. There is a role there. It's just like in research, also, we have this thing. You can't be biased. That's professionally, it is not correct. Ethically, research ethics talk about it. Moving ahead, why do you conduct research and how to carry it? Okay. Any guesses? Why do we conduct researches?
To get more in-depth knowledge.
Okay. Anything else?
To bring out remedies.
Remedies, suggestions you're talking about, right?
And
Yeah,
to
it is
bridge
the
the gaps.
controversial topic.
To bridge gaps, very good, yeah. To bridge gaps. Yes. How do you bridge a gap, but in research? Can you?
By offering suggestions.
Okay, suggestions that everybody is giving, but how do you fill that gap? Can you fill it?
Ma'am, let's say we have a situation, and by researching about it, we can fill the gap between it. Means by adding, means collecting data from all the sources and doing a thorough research, we can understand more about it. Eventually, we can fill that gap by all
By
that research.
implementing the various things that we are trying to like understand, and then like the suggestions we are giving, we can implement them so that the situation can be like improved.
Okay. Shubh and Ashi, both of you are correct, but it is more of a theoretical thing which you are telling me. It is actually very difficult at our level to fill that gap. Okay, firstly, the kind of researches which we do. You can fill the gap if a lot of empirical study has been done. And the kind of research, like I said, if you are being funded by government bodies, you've been asked, like I've done 5 projects with the commissions, and all of them majorly are looking for policy suggestions. I cannot give a theoretical framework there. Literature definitely helps you to bridge, to identify the issue. But majorly, if I have not done a field study, it is very, very hard to come out or to fill the gap. And that is what the lacuna was in the field of law. Okay, where there was a lot of gap there. Now, why do you have these public consultations when there was drafting of new laws also? Is the reason because uh, we, that is the general population, plays a very, very crucial role, uh, during the drafting because we are the right stakeholders. Ultimately, it's going to affect us. So, a lot of public consultations now are happening, is one of the reasons to fill that particular gap. It's again very unfortunate that it's only said that we are doing public consultations, but actually we are doing it. That is again a question because while the drafting of the new laws was also happening, this was also an issue which was raised by a lot many, academicians as well as practicing lawyers. That when was the consultation done? So again, this is a new way of collecting information. You're doing public consultations. Okay, you both are not wrong. Okay, I'm just telling you the practical thing which is nowadays coming in. So, when we're doing research, it has to be unbiased, like I said. It needs to be very much controlled. Okay, controlled in a manner, the concept of control, it is implying that in exploring causality in relation of any two variables here means factors. You set up your study in a way that minimizes the effect of other factors, which is affecting the relationship. Okay, so your research needs to be controlled. It needs to be very systematic. When I'm talking about systematic, it implies that the procedure adapted to undertake an investigation should follow a certain logical sequence. There are different steps, cannot be taken in a very haphazard way. Like I said, it needs to be done in a systematic manner. For instance, I cannot uh, draft my statement of problem without actually collecting information, looking for the right kind of literature. I can't do that. It cannot be suggestions coming first. It cannot be drafted like that. So your research needs to be very much thought. A lot of thought has to be given there. It needs to have a proper procedure. Secondly, it needs to be valid and verifiable. Now, this concept, when I'm saying it, implies that whatever you conclude on the basis of your findings is correct and it can be verified by you and others. It nowadays has to be empirical. That means that any conclusions which you are drawing, they are based upon a hard evidence gathered from information collected from real life experiences or observations. So here, your public consultation can come into picture. Then critical. Now, for a lot many researches of students which I've seen, critical analysis. Okay, your research definitely has to be critical, but do you actually know the meaning of critical? Being critical does not means randomly taking the judgment, copying what the court has cited, and then just paraphrasing the entire thing. That is not what critical analysis has to be. So whenever you're drafting a research, any research paper, any blog, also critical analysis, when you please be very, very mindful that the word critical means here, you need to argue certain aspects. Probably you might agree, you might disagree. Okay, you might be diplomatic also in your analysis, but it cannot be the same thing which is being written or by being stated by the Supreme Court or the High Court or the trial court. I mean, it just cannot be possible. So critical here meaning is you need to be very critical about what the judgment is talking about, what the case is talking about, what this particular sentence, is being interpreted, what the court interpreted and what you are interpreting. That journey has to be taken when you are doing a critical analysis. So that is very, very important. It's very unfortunate that I've seen major chunk of researches which are using such words and there's nothing critical about it. It's just mere analysis which is being done. Moving ahead, see, I can't cover everything. So, you know what researches are being used for. I think all of us know. I want to quickly come to, I want to quickly come to how do we do it? Okay, that is something very, very important and relevant, I think. How do you start a research? What do you do? The first step which I'm taking. Anybody has any idea when you first, I mean, a lot of many people have written. So what did you do? The first thing, first step, what was it?
Select a relevant topic on which we want to write a research paper.
Okay, and how did you do that?
Ma'am, going through various topics that are given, or
Hmm?
basically finding our field of interest and then starting with that topic.
Okay. The first you said finding the field of interest. Okay. So again, I've seen a lot many people. What they do is when they are looking to write something, they actually want to write something which majorly 80% of the people are writing, or like I said, AI or privacy laws. This is something which is currently a hot topic, I would say, and people are majorly writing on that. So, first thing is, do not write or do something which everybody else is doing. Look for something which is new. New does not mean that you do the same thing. Repetition should not be there. Avoid it as much as you can. Okay, so she is absolutely correct that the first thing a person should do is look for the interest area, which is very much needed in a current scenario. Once I've
And
identified, hello,
ma'am, I want to say one thing, ma'am,
yes,
that
go.
we can also find the legal issues that are being there. So after
Ye-
finding the legal issues, we can also select our topics beyond our interest.
yes, you are absolutely correct. I will go there. I just wanted to understand the first thing is what. So, rather than listening to what your faculty or a lot many students want to impress also, ऐसा भी होता है. If people are doing PhDs, they might listen to their guides. ये भी होता है. Okay, that is also I've seen. Do avoid that as much as you can. Go for the area of law which you like, which you have an interest. Probably a lot of research could have been done there. But what new thing can I bring to the table? That is something of, something you need to think about. What something new I can bring to the table in that particular area is very much important. So once I have identified my area of law, what should be my next thing? My next thing, which is very, very important, is look for literature. Now, ironically, again, I've seen people not visiting libraries or not looking for the right kind of databases. Um, I hope you have your login IDs of your colleges, universities. You have to look into that data, that library. I'm sure your library people would have provided you, right? So that email ID which has been given to you to log in is needed. You need to go to the library. I don't know why I've seen now over the last couple of years, students not going to the library. Okay, firstly, and then not looking for books in that particular area, looking only to some journals, articles, and that too through, Google में वो आ जाते हैं initial pointers. They take that. iPleader, all, Wikipedia, they are not right kind of sources. I must tell you, avoid using Wikipedia as a source. Avoid using this iPleader. It's not the right kind of research you are doing or opting for. You need to look for material on search engines which are provided, which are there. That is what is needed. One, two data literature is not sufficient. Minimum, I'm telling you, 50 readings should be there. Maximum, so it can go beyond. But minimum, as a uh, budding lawyer, you need to have. Look for the books. The first source of information is book. You need to have textbooks. Second, go for journals, articles, what kind of researches have been done in that particular area, in that particular topic. Identify that. Once you have identified, collect that particular information. Now you have softwares like, I'm not very sure if you're aware of it, mm, Zotero. All of you today, go back, download Zotero. There are other also. So this particular tool will help you to collect information. Okay, you can store it in one particular place. Learn, the entire guide is there. Download it today only. Okay, because it becomes very hard to keep a tab of from where I have taken that particular information. What is my referencing? I mean, people get confused, and I've seen people using materials and then they have forgotten from where I have taken this particular, what is the source of information. So Zotero kind of tools will help you. There are many. Okay, I've just told you one. This is very frequently used, friendly, also user friendly. So probably you can download that. So this will help you to collect that particular information. Okay. And again, I'm mentioning minimum 50. Okay. 50 to below mat jana. I mean, then this is not a good research if you are, targeting for better publications, or even for, if you're interning case, how to find a case, what has to, I mean, that is very much needed. Nobody in the firm is going to teach you that. You need to learn from your first year, second year, how to locate cases, SC में कैसे देखना, how, I mean, this is very, very much important. Unfortunately, I've seen it even in our university, okay? First year, second years, they don't use half the time this. I have to tell them, please use it. That's extremely important. That's the basis. So, like I said, you need to collect the information. Now, again, repeating this thing, what kind of information? You need to check the sources which you are downloading, which you are reading. Who has done the research? Where has it been published? Okay, how many times it has been cited? How many times it has been downloaded? Check the numbers, it's all mentioned. What kind of journal am I referring to? See, there are numerous journals and people just randomly take information. Please don't do that. Who's the author? I do not want, or I would suggest, avoid using materials which have been written by students. Okay, they are also in the same, platform, just like you people. So avoid that. Check the kind of information you were collecting, the journals which you have taken, the articles, the kind of studies, who has done, where, all of it is important. Okay. Newspapers are also a good source of information. Not many students might miss it out, but don't miss it. Use that information also. That is also important. You have to refer to government data records. Government data records, I meant NCRB, okay, Crime in India, India Justice Report, and then various Supreme Court periodicals. Are so many of the, I mean, you have to refer to such kind of authentic records for collecting data. Okay, data, a lot many newspapers also, publish. Avoid that. A lot many organizations, research organizations also do a lot many studies. You can quote them while you are doing a lot of literature review. All of it is very relevant. uh, Always collect the information, and when you're drafting, while drafting, you should always have new to old information or old to new information. I generally prefer new to old information. Okay, and also see from which year to which year you are planning to, uh, write it down. Last 10 years, changes have occurred. Last 5 years, changes have occurred. Or last 15 years, even in context to cases, if you are doing a case analysis, or if you have taken a chunk of cases. So, what changes have occurred, like with context to IT law? A lot many changes have occurred. Lot many rules have, uh, you know, uh, come into place. Then DPDP Act came into picture. So I would prefer, if I'm referring to the this IT laws, I would rather referring to last 20 years. I would refer from last 10 years. A major chunk of changes have occurred. So that is the manner in which you need to divide. Okay, how? Because you cannot collect a lot last 20 years information. It is challenging, very challenging at your level, until you are being funded for certain researches. It is difficult. So while drafting and all, I think artificial intelligence makes us not need offices. I'll take this question later. Yusuf has asked. Okay, so identify that year-wise bracket also, which is very, very important and relevant. Now, I mentioned as to how you are starting your research plays a very, very crucial role. Uh, let's take up some example. Hmm, anybody interested in environmental law? You've studied environmental law?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so something which is very in over the yes, but not interested. Yes, it's a very dry subject, Mansi. Even I was never interested in it. Okay, but this
I
is
am very
something.
interested in IPR. Like, it's not in our course yet, it will come, but I have done one moot court and it's so interesting.
It's
Intellectual
very
property rights.
interesting. Yes, AI, IPR. Uh, these are very very interesting, and I
Especially when
think
it comes to AI producing something and then who, like the patent, like who is going to get the patent, the AI or the one creating those cases.
yes. Good that you have a certain liking towards certain area specialization in the field of law. I just took a very basic example because I think global warming, sustainable development is something which is, I think we are discussing by and large everywhere. And by 2030, I think we had to reach certain goals also, but unfortunately, we're not able to. So I've just taken a basic example of a research area, climate change, laws, and role of society. Now, the biggest mistake here, can anybody tell me what have I made? Do you think it is complete?
Ma'am, it's a very wide topic.
Very good. Okay, see, research has to be, like I said, drafted or not can be, it cannot be taught. So, my biggest mistake here is like when I've collected information, which you will also do, which I think 80% of the people do it when they are drafting. We collect information and we know that this is my area and this is the issue. Once you have identified your literature, you have read, you have come across, okay, this is what is missing. You have identified your problem. Okay. Once I have identified my problem, should I immediately draft my topic? No, you shouldn't. Okay. You should draft your statement of problem, why there is a problem, what is the issue. So somebody was talking about the issue drafting. Here it will come. Once I've collected my information, once I know that this is a gap which is there, which my research might fill up, I will draft my statement of problem, the issues. Issues, post I've done that, I will draft my research questions. Now, ironically, again, we all go and jump into the objectives part. Don't do that. First, you draft your questions. That is very much important. What is the question? Okay. Uh, if I have to ask you here, if you have to draft a question, what kind of question can you draft? And mind you, there is a pattern in which we draft also. Randomly, we cannot use any word while drafting questions also.
We can do something like climate change, how it has affected Delhi.
Delhi.
Yeah, Delhi specifically.
Okay. And I
And
like
there
the
are
manner, the fact that you use the word Delhi. I'll tell you why. Yes.
and on there have been lots of regulations that have been brought, like the even odd parking schemes. We can talk about that.
Okay. Very good. Anything else?
Ma'am,
I
we
can
can
draw.
also talk about how
Okay.
climate change is affecting the certain groups of society, the minorities which are backward and have less resources, and how they are affecting their human rights.
Okay. So you've gone beyond. Don't go that far. She mentioned specifically Delhi. I have mentioned that role of people and society. So here, you question the
Ma'am, it
role.
can be like how is society aiding the climate changes?
Okay, in Delhi.
If it's yeah, specifically
Yes. So here you try to understand what is the role which is being played by the Delhi government. Okay, that should be one of the things which we need to cover because ultimately we have to discuss the legal angle also, apart from the role of society. Okay, so once I've drafted such kind of questions, my last question and my last objective should always be a model, a suggestion. It cannot be randomly placed anywhere. Last thing. So my last thing is to suggest or to develop or what measures could have been taken could be taken, to combat it. Say it's very difficult to combat it, to control it. So once I have drafted these things, I will come and draft my topic. Please note, drafting of topic also takes almost a week or so. Okay, your topic should always give the idea to the reader as to what is it about. So this topic is incomplete, and like she mentioned, in Delhi, climate change, laws and roles of society in Delhi, if I can draft it like that. Now, here again, my topic seems very huge. I need to again general से specific होना is very much necessary. Even though it is giving me an idea, okay, it is something related to climate change, yet it is not properly drafted. So always remember that your drafting of topic is also an art. Okay, it should justify what you are planning to work or what you have analyzed. It should be very specific. It cannot be too long also. It cannot be too short also because you are not drafting a blog or something. It's an article or a paper. Please note, article and paper also are two different things. They are not same. Article generally has a limited word limit, whereas your paper is much detailed. Article might not have research methodology, paper will surely have. And nowadays, every good journal is looking for a research methodology which you have adopted. So here, once I have identified my area, topic, all of it is drafted, how do I start writing? You have to always go for a background research about the particular topic. So here I've mentioned define environment. Environment in general context, environment under the Environmental Act. Okay, what the various other international bodies are talking about in the context of environment because all of us, if you have studied environmental law, a major chunk of it is taken from outside. Okay, so the declarations are so many, you will read them later on, Rio, and a lot many things are there. Then you talk about what are the once I've drafted my background, what is the current issue there. Okay, how I mentioned here the causes and all of it. This is all a part of your background. Okay, you have actually not come into the real research. Once I've done those things, then I always write my methodology. What is my methodology? There you will talk about the kind of research you have adopted and what is my research question, your objectives, right? And one by one, I will take up my research objective and start analyzing them. That is what you need to do when you are drafting. One topic has to be taken, as in one question. One objective has to be analyzed. And once I've done that, then I put my discussions and my arguments, and then I will draft my suggestions. I have put recommendations here. Avoid the word recommendation. It is better to have suggestion as a word because we are not law commissions. We don't suggest. Sorry, we don't recommend. We suggest. Okay, always have grassroots kind of suggestions, something which is workable as a legal scholar, as a legal researcher, as a legal intern. New law has to be created, which I think everybody writes. Don't write that. Okay, that is not something which is needed. Two very important, which I've seen comparative analysis when we are doing UK and US model when we take up. You cannot compare UK and US with India solely because demographically, geographically, we are very different, very different. Okay, so when I'm comparing certain acts, like I'm currently working in the area of victim compensation, when I see the model of UK and US, I mean, they have acts, proper acts. We don't have those things here. It's hard for me to, compare it. What can I do here? I will read the entire act. I will look for the pointers, certain clauses which can be, incorporated or could be used in my research as suggestion point. Otherwise, it is very difficult to compare this. Asian countries, definitely you can because it's much easier. However, it's a humble suggestion. Do not write this when you're drafting, that compare it. I'm doing a comparative analysis with US and UK. It's difficult, yeah. It's very much challenging. I mean, how? So my first thing is please see what you are comparing with what. Certain elements of it can be taken because when we are going for policy making, certain pointers are only taken. When you are drafting or developing a model, then you only can take certain pointers. You cannot take an entire replica of it. It is just not possible. So be very, very much mindful as to when we are using such things. Especially, I've seen it in the field of law. I think we don't have much time. I'll quickly come to which is very much needed. AI and tech driven, certain tools. I mean, even though Justice Gawai is not very welcoming when we are, talking about AI driven tools. Uh, I think our ex Chief Justice uh, Chandrachud, he was very much into the AI part. Definitely, it is very much, helpful when I'm talking about, but a lot many challenges are also there. Like, for instance, all of us, okay, I've seen all of us, and I'm saying ChatGPT is being used like a substitute for for not using your brain at all. If you're using a lot of ChatGPT, avoid it. The citations there are not complete. Incomplete citations are there, so it's not correct kind of information. Uh, Quickly, I want to go to your AI thing. Uh, Literature review, like when we were discussing, is about mapping the existing literature. You're identifying the gaps, you're spotting emerging trends. Tools like Semantic Scholar, Search Rabbit, Connecting Papers, they can be visibly, they can actually visibly map citations and help find the most relevant paper without endless searching. Okay, so like I told you, Zotero is one of the softwares. These also are the tools, which I think I've mentioned in my presentation, also the next slide. You have tools like Census AI, Undermined. You have R Discovery. They can help refine broad topics into a very clear, researchable questions by showing how others have explored similar ideas. So when I was saying, you have to identify the gap, how much of literature is there, how many people have done such kind of, researches, what kind of researches. So these tools probably can help you. Then you have tools like Scholarly, Ngo Read, which make it very easier to extract key points, arguments, and summaries for large volumes of academic material, which help us, stay very much focused on analysis rather than just reading. Uh, then you have platforms like Notebook LM. You have Julius AI, which help in supporting note making, thematic categorization, and even simple Q&A within your notes. And it makes very easy to connect the dots and draw. You have platforms like SiteLaw, which provide free access to millions of Indian legal documents like Supreme Court and High Court judgments with semantic and Boolean researches capabilities. These tools help students quickly locate relevant case laws and statutes. You have SCC Online, I'm sure everybody is using it. You have Manupatra remain dominant, of course, with enhanced AI features for the case analysis and citation tracking. And many law schools offer subsidized access or training certificates also on this. Then you have open access resources also, like India Code. E-courts portals provide a lot of free access to statutes, bills, and case statutes, reducing a lot of reliance on paid databases. You have government site like Parliament of India, which offer real-time legislative updates. You have, which is very ideal for researching your pending bills. Like there's so many of them, you can just surf today and find out. You have legal blogs like Spicy IP for IP law. Somebody was talking to me on IPR. And you have Bench for Court updates and open access journals are there. NUJS has a lovely journal, NUJS Law Review, which is, I think, very, very famous among students. So probably you could contribute there. Then you need to understand one very, very critical point, which is emphasize that these tools are not for generating full, complete content, but for enhancing your research workflows. It's very responsible use of AI means you have to ensure academic integrity while improving the efficacy part. These are certain tools which I have mentioned here, probably the ones which I was specifying. You could go through it. Okay, this probably might be very much helpful.
Ma'am, I have one question, please.
Yes, please. I was just going there.
To what
Yes.
extent can the use of AI is in our research is permitted? Is totally prohibited for high quality research, or under what circumstances is the use of AI tools allowed? Thank you so much.
Uh, See, you are basically, where are you? I mean, in which year are you? Are you practicing or you are doing your research, PhD, something? What exactly are you doing? First, you need to tell me that.
I am a lecturer of law at university.
From which university? You're not from India, right?
Oh, no, no, from Ethiopia University.
Okay. So I'm not very sure about there. In India, I nowadays I have seen there are a lot many startups. In fact, NLSIU Bangalore students recently started a startup on AI. Okay, so they are doing brilliant. And similarly, lot many top law firms are also nowadays going with this AI assistance. It is making a lot many things easy, but like I said, the current Chief Justice of India is also emphasizing that you cannot completely rely on AI for right
Mm.
kind of information, because again, whatever information which has been put into AI is by man. So rather than relying completely on it, you have to understand that certain material can be taken, but if you have to draft certain arguments, if to use that logical thinking, that cannot be done from there. Okay, you have to use your mind. So as a lawyer, it is a good aid, but you cannot completely rely 100%. I will say that please do not rely on it. Like I just mentioned that
And
chat, yeah.
can we use it in moot court competition?
Yes, you can. Of course, you can use, and the tools which I have just stated in my presentation and which I mentioned also, some of them are brilliant. You can use it, but do not completely use for citations. Like I said, there are citation generators. Probably you should use those. Okay, I'm not sure
Thank you
if you're
very
you,
much.
if you're using those citation generators also. But you should avoid using Chat GPT for citations. That is not correct. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions you have? Ma'am, can we get the PPT, and do you have any draft theories like sample for mood competition? Uh, I didn't get your question as in sample for mood court competition. I'm sure your university or college would have a mood court society, so probably they would be giving you certain samples. No, Swaroop.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They
Do
have.
they have? They have. So I think you should refer that. But like I said, start using these tools. I'm not saying completely rely on them, but they are very good for literature and like a lot of. I'm not sure that your college has complete access to all the softwares. It becomes really challenging. Probably you could ask your neighboring universities or friends of other universities to
No, they
give
have
you.
only Manupatra.
Oh, so again, Manupatra is very limited. So probably this is a good platform for you. You could possibly ask some students to share, their email IDs to access databases. This might help you. And then you have a large range of databases, which will definitely help you in drafting for mood courts. Now, would you recommend
Ma'am,
Hindu paper? Bacha, Yuvraj, any paper which you think you would want to read, please read. Okay, Hindu is, if you are just starting now, then I will suggest Indian Express, Hindu. All of them are fine, yeah. Whatever you are comfortable. Not Times of India. Times of India is majorly for ads. Okay, so avoid that. What
ma'am,
type?
can we get a
Yeah.
feedback form to fill out for receiving our e-certificate right now?
I don't know. Yeah, you have to ask the team.
Okay.
Okay, so I have no clue about it. What types of research can one employ? Also, how would you avoid plagiarism? See, Pranika, like I said, the lecture was very limited. So you have an entire research methodology method. You have a way of doing it. Um, you have doctrinal, non-doctrinal, then a lot many forms are there. So it depends upon the kind of research you are adopting. If it is theoretical, whether it is theoretical plus empirical, which is going nowadays, mixed approaches. I also go for mixed approaches, and I will suggest that you should also go for mixed approaches. How do you avoid plagiarism? Uh, Plagiarism has to be avoided firstly. Whatever paraphrasing does not mean that you're not plagiarizing. It does mean you read about that particular document, draft it in your own words, and try to incorporate something new when you are writing. Like, if I've read a certain document, I would definitely try to take those portions which are relevant to my research rather than taking the complete document, okay, referring to the entire thing. So I would only refer to those things. I should have proper footnoting because we are law students. Footnoting is very much important. Have references or bibliography and notes needed. It depends upon where you are submitting it. And the kind of referencing pattern that has to be similar, as in I cannot have APA referencing, or then I can go
Blue
for
books
Harvard
citation.
Blue Book. So, like in law schools, majorly we are using Blue Book 21st citation edition. For mooting, especially if you're going for international moots, a Scholar is nowadays used. If you're going for international mooting, okay, outside they majorly prefer a Scholar. Otherwise, I mean, across the globe, which I've seen, it's APA citation which is being used majorly, and Scholar. Blue Book we are majorly using in law schools in India. What I've seen. How to can we get how to start researching as first year students with okay, if you're in first year, newspaper is your first go-to place. And like I said, start from very basics. Don't just because I told you we're going into Harvard, database, or you're going to Cambridge, and then you're trying to, read. You will not understand anything. Basic is newspaper. Then go into Indian authors. In first year, you have very basic subjects, you have legal methods and all those. So probably you can start from basic books, basic articles, okay, rather than switching to any kind of higher material because you might not understand at all. So it's much better to start from the basics and then go to the higher thing. How much portion have
Ma'am,
you? Yes.
ma'am, I think newspaper is not a credible source on an international level. While doing the research of any international topic, then newspaper is not a credible source, I think so.
See, newspaper, when I'm talking about which newspaper and what information am I taking? News में भी बहुत आता है. See, there, I mean, a
And
lot of,
there's a news channel Al Jazeera and Reuters. I think they are biased on some point of things.
yeah, so Shreya,
Uh,
you have to see which newspaper am I referring to and what material am I taking from that newspaper. A lot many newspapers, cite uh, a lot of data and a lot of, they quote a lot with organizations who are researching. They quote them. Like Vidhi is one of it. I mean, a lot of you would have read about Vidhi or probably interned with there. So they are there. I mean, you have India Justice Report also doing a lot many researches. So probably such places I would say ki you can quote, but I'm not saying any research is 100% accurate. No research is 100% accurate. Okay, even whatever research I have also done will always be challenged. Somebody else will carry it forward, will criticize it, will say it's not correct, come out with something new. Whatever you have researched by far will always be challenged. So, none of the researches anywhere is 100% accurate. That's why it is research. It is incomplete. There's always a chance to do something new with the existing literature. There is always a chance. Shodh Ganga, yes, yeah, Shodh Ganga is there. But why would you only want to read from Shodh Ganga? Ma'am, if someone is writing research paper for the first time, what are the genre one must take and where to start? Rupam, I just said that you need to first read. That is what you need to do first. What area you want to research upon, that is important in the field of law. And currently, you have more of interdisciplinary researches. I would suggest that you should go for interdisciplinary researches where you have different fields coming together. You might have friends from economics background, you might have friends from maths background, or you might have friends from arts background. You need to sit together and come out with something niche. So I suggest that interdisciplinary is something very much needed, and nowadays we are taking up interdisciplinary researches uh, majorly. What if some? What are some of the best journals where we can publish? Okay, so I just mentioned that NUJS has student-run journals. You can probably refer that. Then you have Journal of it's Lucknow. Okay, RMNLU also has student-run journal. Go firstly for student-run journals, and then little once. If I have, if you target student-run journals right now, then probably in future you might get better journals also. You have otherwise ABDC journals. I'm writing it, okay? These are all databases for journals. You should check TND Taylor and Francis. Then you have Sage journals. You have Springer journals. So if you look into today, go and check ABDC journals. You will get so many journals of varied fields. You can type down there if you are from uh, humanities area, law, or social sciences. There are certain brackets there. You can click them, and then a list of journals can be there. Later on, once you have published in student-run journals, then you can possibly, in fact, international, you have Edinburgh, you have Queensberry, Harvard, okay, student-run journals are there. Probably you can target that. And but again, like I said, this writing is an art, it takes time. So it is going to take you time. I will suggest if you're having difficulty, write it with your friend who is better in drafting. Okay, that you can do. Any other question? Any particular legal website to read beginner friendly? You have